Hey everyone, and welcome to my third class guide video in this series. Today I will be going over the officer class and how to play them the most effectively. Just like my other guide, this guide will be split up into multiple parts. But before I even start this video, I want to shout out the comments of the last video asking for the sapper class. I know everyone was asking for the sapper class and the officer was second asked. But the reason I'm doing this first is because I need help. I'm serious. If you or anyone you know is good at the sapper class or has any sapper tips, please join my Discord server, which will be linked in the description of this video. I'm looking for any sapper mains, any at all, to give me some guidance, as sapper is the only class in Guts and Blackpowder I don't play very often, and I want to make sure the class guide for the sapper is the best it can be. Also, I would just appreciate it in general if you join my new Discord server. It's new, and you get to talk to all your fellow Guts and Blackpowder players, ask questions if you need help, give me suggestions for videos, and even give tips or guidance for other classes I will do a guide on in the future. Again, link to the server is in the description of this video, please come join. Now, moving on. Lastly, the game's version is currently in version 0.117b, and things will most likely be subject to change, and it is possible this video may become outdated if new things arise. With that out of the way, let's start with our first tip. For our first tip, which will be short and sweet, you should know your place. You are typically a close quarters combat fighter who is effective at wiping out hordes along with your allies and getting rid of barrels easily. The only time you should be away from the front lines is to shoot a barrel and then reload. Otherwise, you should prioritize frontlining. Alright, for this tip I was originally going to do a video representation on how to use these, but honestly, it's way easier if I just explain it. Starting with the pistol. This gun has pretty average accuracy, deals 85 damage on a hit, and reloads in 6.2 seconds. This gun is very good at effectively taking out barrels, igniters, and sometimes, if you need to, runners. It's overall a very good gun, and in my personal opinion, I prefer it over the double barrel pistol. Also, before you go into the comment section and start complaining that the double barrel pistol is on top or a direct upgrade, both guns are equally balanced, and I'll explain why in just a minute. So, the pistol overall is a gun that can snipe zombies, preferably barrels, from a fair distance. If I had to estimate, I would say this gun is on par with the carbine's accuracy, making it overall pretty good, minus not having the shove ability, of course. Now the double barrel pistol. This gun is pretty much exactly what it sounds like. It's a pistol with 2 shots instead of 1. The gun deals 75 damage per bullet, and this part is gonna be a little weird, but there are actually 3 different reload times for the double barrel pistol. The first one is when both barrels are empty, but you want to load 1 bullet and then unequip the gun to cancel the reload. This takes 8 seconds to do. The second is if both barrels are empty and you want to reload both bullets. This takes 10 seconds. And the third is if 1 barrel is empty and you want to reload it. This takes 6.2 seconds, which is actually the same as the normal pistol. This basically means if you really want, you can never shoot your second shot unless it's for an emergency. However, the glaring downside to this gun is that its accuracy is horrendous. It has the lowest accuracy in the entire game, making it almost impossible to hit anything at a far range. The main use for the double barrel pistol is taking out barrels at closer ranges. Good maps you could use a double barrel pistol on are Vardahost or Leipzig, as there are parts on those maps where barrels are close to the escape point and you don't want them cornering your team. So having 2 shots will let you deal with more barrels than a normal pistol would. Also, lastly, it has a double shot. This is overall useless and niche, but it has 2 main uses, which are to aim at a zapper's head and one-shot them, but you have to be at a close range for you to do this, so it's somewhat risky. Or, you can fire it into a small horde. Now that you understand your firearms, let's move on to how to use your trusty saber. For this part, I'm going to be going over how to use the saber the most effectively. If you've already watched my line infantry video and seen this already, you can skip this part if you want. However, if you haven't seen it, I would recommend watching this, as your saber is the most effective weapon in your arsenal that you have, and you're gonna be using it a lot. So, it's best to know how to use it. So first, let's go over our swings. We have an upswing, we have a right swing, we have a left swing, and we have a downswing. The swings that we will be talking about the most are your right swing and your downswing. So, let's get into that. So first things first, we're going to be talking about the downswing. The downswing is very effective at taking out hordes of zombies safely without being grabbed, and it's very, very effective at taking out runners, and it's the most safe option. So, now I'm going to spawn a few runners and a few shamblers, and use only my understab just to show how safe it is. Just like this, stab, and stab. You can see I have a farther range because I'm using my understab compared to the other ones, so it's safer. Now for hordes, what you want to do, and I will have an entire video of this eventually, I don't know when I'll make it, but it'll go over flicking. All you need to know for flicking is that you take your mouse and right before you swing, especially with a down stab, all you have to do is swing it like this. Just tilt it left or right, depending on which way you swing. So, I'll show you now. Go like this. This lets you hit multiple zombies at a time. So, it's very useful, and you're gonna wanna know how to flick if you're gonna be using your down stab to take care of hordes. Now, let's move on to our side swing. So now, let's talk about your side swing. Your side swing on your sword typically aims more at the zombie's head and will hit headshots more often than not. This is very useful at taking out big hordes fast. However, you have to know that this is more dangerous to use than the down stab. This is because it has less range than the down stab. However, as long as you hit them in the head with it, it'll take them out way faster. Just like that. However, sometimes on some objective maps, it'll take 2 headshots, sometimes even 3 on a map like Copenhagen, to kill them even if you hit headshots. Now the last thing that I want to talk about that I will get into later anyway, but still we'll talk about here, is that if you're behind a sapper barricade, make sure you help them. As long as you use your side swing, you'll deal with zombies really, really fast, and it'll help your sappers out in the long run. So, that's all you really need to know about how to use your swings. So, now let's move on to how to use your charge ability. Alright, moving on to our 4th tip for this guide, I'm going to be going over when and how to use your officer's charge ability, and what it exactly does, and how it synergizes with every weapon in the game currently as of this version. So, first things first, how do you get your charge? If you played Officer for more than a minute, you'll probably understand pretty easily how to get it. So I'll just show off really quick. All you have to do is melee some zombies. Doesn't really matter what. And if you look at the bottom right, my charge increases every time I hit an enemy. So that's how you get your charge. Alright, for this part I'm going to do a montage on how the charge affects every weapon currently in the game. So, roll the clips.
Say no.
Now I'm going to move on to things that the officer charge does that not many people know. So, first things first, you can't be grabbed while you're in a charge, which I'll showcase right now. As you can see, they literally cannot grab me. They'll hurt me, but they can't grab me. But the moment my charge ends, they're able to grab me. Something else to note about your charges is that they actually free people from grabs. Of course, it takes 4 gamblers to kill a person, but at most you can have 3, and you can use your charge to free people if they're grabbed. So this is very useful if, you know, let's say there's a lot of your friends being grabbed in one place, you can use your charge and free all of them. Now, something important to note that I think is pretty obvious, but I'll explain anyway. Your charge does not block runner grabs, which I'll show really quick. They still grab you anyway, and they'll still eat you. The last thing that you need to know about the charge ability is that it can't free people from being grabbed by runners. He's gonna get grabbed by one. You can see he's stuck. And he's still stuck. Still stuck. Yep. So yeah, you can't free people from runners, and you cannot use this to gain immunity from runner grabs. That's all you really need to know. When should you use your charge? This is very important since wasting your charge on a small horde could cause multiple casualties later on down the line. Something I want to bring to your attention really quickly before I go over anything else regarding charging is that the charge has a cooldown before you're able to fill it up again and use it. I can't actually find how long it takes exactly, but I estimate it's about 30 seconds to a minute before you can start refilling your charge again. If you know how long it is, let me know in the comments, or in my Discord server. Now, you should be using your charge primarily in situations where there is a massive horde that is starting to overwhelm the team, or if multiple people are being grabbed by shamblers. An OP strategy that people tend to overlook is if a priest is using their crucifix, you should use your charge along with them. Most chaplains use their crucifix in desperate situations. So, if you find yourself in this situation with them and have a charge, you should probably use it. Lastly, you should almost never charge if you see a good few barrels coming in your direction. This may end up actually accidentally killing someone on your team because they may melee it, or they get too close when someone shoots it. So, all you really need to know about your charge is that it will break giant hordes and help a lot in desperate situations. Alright, I probably know what you're thinking when I bring this tip up. Wait, doesn't every class try to do this anyway? Why are you bringing this up specifically for the officer? The reason I'm bringing this up for the officer is because their entire class is actually perfect for defending sapper structures. If there are barrels coming, shoot them with your pistol. It has a fast reload, so just reload it really quickly and get back into the action. Is there a massive horde building up behind the barricades? Just use your charge. You and your teammates will be able to get rid of it in just seconds and give the sapper more time to build. Basically what I'm saying is help your sapper out and give them more time to build. You, the bugle players, and chaplains are the sapper's best friend, and fifers too, but we don't really talk about it. With the officer being the best of friends because you have 2 ways of helping. I like to imagine the officers and sappers shaking hands at like the end of a match because of how well they pair together. Funny stuff aside, let's just move on. Honestly, this tip was the sole reason that drove me to make this guide because of how often it happens. If you have played Guts and Blackpowder for at least 30 minutes, you'll know how often officers and seamen shoot barrels near people. Some people do it on purpose, but we're gonna act like they don't exist for this tip. Basically, all I'm trying to say is when you're about to shoot a barrel, you need to judge whether it's safe to shoot them or not. If you see your teammates near it, you need to put the gun down and just let them lure the barrel. If nobody is close enough to lure the barrel, that's when you should shoot it. I am honestly sick and tired of people hesitating to shoot barrels because they think someone else is going to shoot it when they probably aren't. If you want a good tip to take away from this, try to stay in the front, that way you can be the person to see the barrels first and take them out before anyone gets the chance to lure them or hesitate. Also, if you are one of those people who shoot barrels on purpose, could you at least do it in mobile server? It's way more funny, and that's where I do it personally. I mean, please stop doing that. That's very wrong and messes up the experience of other players at the Costiers. And let's just move on to the next thing. So this tip is going to be controversial amongst mobile players because they're more blind than bats, but I'm encouraging you to be a hero and help people. Basically, if you see someone grabbed by a runner and see a safe path to get to them and help them, you should probably go help them. If you see multiple people grabbed by shamblers, use your charge because it'll free them. If you see someone trying to 1v1 a zapper in a mobile server, maybe shoot the zapper in the head so they won't die. Or maybe, just maybe, instead of shooting the barrel near the guy who got grabbed by one shambler, instead go stab the shambler off the person, then back away. Obviously, this is all assuming that you can come back safely after saving that person. If someone rushes into a giant horde like an idiot, then yeah, there's no saving that guy. You have to be the judge of whether or not you can save someone. So now, let's go over everything we've learned. Overall, the officer is probably the most self-sufficient class in the entire game. They have a pistol to take care of barrels that reloads pretty quick. They have a charge that decimates hordes of zombies and can free people very easily. Your class is practically made for helping sappers. And also, officers get probably the most drip out of any regiment pack you buy. Seriously, the officer 9 times out of 10 will be more dripped out than any other class if you bought a good regiment pack. Lastly, make sure to join my Discord server, which will be linked in this video's description. There you can talk to me and other people about questions you have, and even give me advice for future videos. Seriously, please give me advice. I am desperate, especially for the sapper classes. They are the class I am the least experienced with and need guidance on. But yeah, I will also do other things there, like shout out when I'm running my custom server, which by the way, I run a lot. I'll show the server's name on screen right now. This way you can be the first people in the server when I'm online. Also, I have been considering this lately, but I'm unsure if people would like to see a video on this or not. But I was planning on making a video where I go over the events that I do in my server, promoting it, and also going over exactly how my events work. That way, if you want to use them for your custom server, you can. If you think this sounds like something I should do, let me know in the comments. Also, comment any questions or any additional tips I left out of the video. Like and subscribe as always, and have fun playing the officer.